this might be the topic I get the most questions about regarding Google Ads. That is Target ROAS for sure. I get questions almost on a daily basis regarding Target ROAS. When do you set the Target ROAS? How do you use it properly? To which percentage I should set the Target ROAS? 270, 280. Target ROAS is probably something like people have the most questions about. And a couple of questions. And it makes sense because it's very interesting, right? It's a very interesting aspect of Google Ads, Target ROAS. Why? Because it sounds too good to be true for a beginner, right? What do you mean I can set a target ROAS? So if I set the target ROAS of 300%, does that mean when I invest €1, I get free out? Yes, that's basically what it means. The target ROAS of 300% is, okay, if you invest €1 in ads, you will get €3 out, right? Return on ad spend. And TROAS means target return on ad spend. But that's what it is. It's just a target. That doesn't mean you will actually get 300% ROAS, especially not in the beginning. And that's important to understand. And that's why I really look forward to make this video today, because I do get a lot of questions about it. A lot of people use target ROAS the wrong way, and it actually hurts their campaign performance. Alright, so let's dive into it. The first and most important principle you have to understand about target ROAS: you do not set it in the beginning. And we talked about that before in some of the previous videos of that course. And you do not set the target ROAS in the beginning. Why? In the beginning, it's all about patience and gathering data. That's the most important thing. You just want to gather data. You don't touch anything. And when you gather data, you don't set the target ROAS yet. Why? Because you do not get a lot of conversions yet. You do not get a lot of data yet. And if you set the target ROAS, two things will happen. First of all, you don't even have enough data yet. How should the algorithm know how to get to the target ROAS? And that's the thing. It can only give you a target ROAS reliably if you have a lot of data in the account already. Because then the algorithm knows, okay, there I can get that ROAS, right? There it's possible. There it's achievable. But if you don't have the data in the account yet, how should the algorithm know how to get to the target ROAS, right? It's impossible. And what will happen, therefore, it will try to get it, but it's not really possible because it doesn't have the data yet. You're still super early in the learning phase. You don't have a lot of conversion data. So what will happen? Your spend will start to decrease and you will basically throttle the campaign. It cannot spend anymore. It will not give you good results. On some days, you will just spend a couple of cents clicks because it cannot work with target ROAS. So do not, never set a target ROAS in the beginning. And that leads me to the second point. How many conversions do you actually need to set the target ROAS properly and to use it properly? And it's also something a lot of people, even media buyers, even experienced media buyers, get wrong a lot. Because the thing is, I think Google recommends to have at least 30 or now 50 conversions in the last 30 days, depending on the campaign type as well. At least 30 to 50 conversions to set the target ROAS, right? Which, let's say 30 to 50 purchases in the last 30 days, right? Which is achievable, you know, that's not that much. But it's also, like you see, okay, it doesn't make sense to use it in the beginning then, right? You do need a couple of purchases already. But the thing is, and that's why that is so misleading and why a lot of people use target ROAS completely the wrong way. That's not even close enough in conversion data. Like that's not enough at all. You need way more conversions. And I can show you why. I can explain to you why in detail. Let me show you. So we are in the ad account now. Cazzate Mode, our favorite example that we used for that course. And okay, let's imagine now let's pick the whole month basically. Oh yeah, okay, we just created the ad account, but let's say that's the whole month, right? We get a couple of conversions every month. And you just look at it, 30 to 50 conversions. Nice, not that bad. You have a couple of conversions. But what a lot of people don't take into account, and Google also doesn't take into account with their recommendation, which is super important as well. How many products do you have on the store? When you have 50 conversions, like how many products are actually delivering the conversions? Do you have one product, one hero that sells really well and gets all the conversions? Or do you have different products and the conversions are split up on different products, different variants, sizes, colors, whatever? That is a huge factor. And a lot of people get it completely wrong because they just look at conversion data on an account level or even campaign level, but they don't take into account how many conversions do I actually have per product. And that is immensely important because you also have a learning phase per product in the end. And I always discuss that with clients as well, because that's super important to understand, right? Because they ask, yo, Chris, campaigns are live for I don't know how many days. We do have a couple of conversions. When can we properly scale, or when can I leave the learning phase? And what a lot of people don't consider is you do have a learning phase per product. For example, let's take our shoe store here, and yes, GMC is currently down. We're working on that so we can actually launch the ads. And we do not have a lot of product variants here, right? 638 is not a lot. You see way more with fashion usually. I have some stores that have 5, 10, 15,000, you know, even higher, doesn't matter. But when you have that many product variants, or even with 600, and you think about 30 to 50 conversions, okay, let's say I have 2 conversions here, 1 conversion here, 1 there, half a conversion here maybe. But let's not confuse you guys now with half a conversion, that would be a bit tricky. 1 conversion here, 1 conversion here. Oh, I have 3 here, great. 1 here, 1 here, and for 1 month, right? You do have a bit of conversion data in the account yet, but if you actually look at it on a product level, how many conversions do I have per product? It's not a lot of data, and I even see that with some bigger dropshipping accounts. They might generate 1-2K a day already, but they have so many products and the conversions come from everywhere basically. They never properly get out of the learning phase. They therefore never achieve a really nice level of consistency. And that's why it's also tricky with the target ROAS a little bit. Because yes, even if you have the conversion data here on account level, how many conversions do you have for each and every product, right? Because usually it looks like that. 1 conversion here, 1 conversion here. So it's spread thinly over a couple of products instead of this huge amount of data for one specific product, right? And that's the difference. Because if I have 50 conversions for 1 product, yes, that's reliable data already. Or you could even argue about that, but that's way better already. Then you can set the target ROAS. So the actual amount of data you need to use target ROAS properly is quite a lot. Again, I cannot give you a fixed number here because, as you could see, it depends on a lot of different factors, on how many products you have. But just be aware, you do need a lot of data for that, okay? Alright, perfect. The real question is then, when do we use target ROAS? Let's pick that color again. When do we use target ROAS then? First of all, agenda point number 1 and agenda point number 2 has to be given, right? I have to be out of the learning phase and I need to have a lot of conversion data. Otherwise, you can set the target ROAS, it will never work properly, and worst case that will happen, right? You will throttle the campaign, it will not spend properly anymore, it will not give you the volume, and it's also like a downward spiral in the end. If you throttle the campaign like that, you will spend less, performance will suffer, and the campaign just starts to behave weirdly. So be careful with the target ROAS. Never push it too much. When it's going well, even if you have a lot of data, there is no point in pushing it too much, you know? Alright, but how do we use it then? The way I like to use a target ROAS, especially once I have gathered some data, let's say we are out of the learning phase and we are starting to scale slowly, right? So the trend is going up like here. And what usually happens, like once you reach a certain traction point, you can really scale quickly. It goes up like that, almost a bit exponentially. It starts slowly and then it goes up really quickly. And first of all, what you need to understand, when you are happy with the development, when you're happy with the growth, ROAS is really nice as well, right? You make a lot of money, a lot of profits. Why should I set the target ROAS now when everything is going as planned? Doesn't really make sense, right? Just go with the flow. A lot of people overthink. They always want to change something because they interpret activity as improvement. They want to do something so they feel good about themselves, right? Whatever it is. Then they change too much. So if everything is going well, I just leave it. You don't set the target ROAS. But when I experience growth like that, and I do scale budget aggressively, what I also see with the ROAS sometimes, even for the revenue growth, ROAS might be a bit inconsistent. It looks like that, the curve. Revenue, we scale up pretty smoothly, but ROAS is kind of wild. Sometimes it's great on days like that, nice ROAS, great profits. Then we have days like that where it's kind of break even, potentially we even make a loss because we scale aggressively, right? What I like to do there is I set a minimum target ROAS, or a target ROAS I would like to have on average, because it gives the campaign more stability while scaling. And again, I have to be out of the learning phase. I do need a lot of conversion data already. And then I set a minimum target ROAS, which I'm happy with. Let's say overall we want to see a ROAS of 300%, right, in the store. Let's say, yeah, whenever I invest €1, I want to see 3 getting out, and then I have good profits. And what I do then in the campaign, and also consider important to remember that you don't see all of the data in the ad account. So be aware of that. When you want to have an overall store ROAS of 300%, be aware that you don't see all of the data in the ad account, so you shouldn't set that as a target ROAS when the actual ROAS is way higher, right? Because again, even if you have great tracking, you will never track 100%. Anyway, let's say the ROAS I'm aiming for in the ad account, it should be like 280%, you know? Let's say 280%. What I will do now while scaling, first of all, I don't want to push it too hard yet, so I will not set it to 280% because I want to give it some freedom. But let's say I will set it to, for example, 250, and that's like a good average ROAS for me still. I make still profits with that. It's not the ideal ROAS I have in mind, but I'm scaling, you know, so I give the campaign some freedom, and that's really important. Give it some freedom, don't push it too hard with the ROAS, as I said before. So we set it to 250%, and what will happen then, I will have more stability with the ROAS. So we'll look like that, similar to the revenue curve, not crazy ups and downs. I will have more stability. And the nice thing is, even for set it lower, if everything is going well and I'm scaling and I have great winning products, the actual ROAS might be even higher than the target ROAS you have set, you know? And that's just the way of the game in the end. If it's not higher, if it's lower and you cannot really achieve your target ROAS anymore, then you might have pushed it too hard with the budget. Then you have to scale back, then you have to find your ideal level for now. Give it some time as well. Don't make stupid short-term changes. If you have one bad day, it's just one day. Like, you do not make changes based on one day. All right? You never want to make emotional changes. You never want to act out of emotion, so be aware of that. All right. One further way I like to use target ROAS is, let's say you have a store or an account that is not going that well. You don't have a lot of volume yet, or let's say decent volume. That is still applicable, right? You're out of the learning phase, you have a lot of conversion data. But let's say the store is running for quite some time and you know you have good revenue, but it's not really growing, and ROAS is also quite inconsistent or barely profitable, right? Let's say you have a ROAS of 190 in the account. And let's say, yeah, you still make profits with that, but it's not really, you want to push it a bit higher. And what I try to do here sometimes, and that works really well with target ROAS as well. Let's say I don't have one set in the account yet. What I try now is to push it slightly higher with a target ROAS strategically. So let's say on average we have that 190 ROAS, you know, like it just like goes up and down a bit. Revenue doesn't really move anywhere. What I try to do now is I set the target ROAS a bit higher. Not too much, because when you set it too high, when you cannot really get there, when that's your ROAS right now and you set it too high, like, oh, let's push it to 300%, you know? Then the same as here will happen. So we will like throttle it again. Then your store that is already doing consistent, decent numbers, you know, will just like go to zero. Like basically no spend at all, and performance will go down. It's a downward spiral, as I said before. So that's why you never want to push it too hard. But what you can try to aim a bit higher. And what happens sometimes then, you give the algorithm a signal, okay, I want to have a slightly higher ROAS. And as you already have a lot of data in the account, that's doable, right? And suddenly target ROAS increases and you get to that level. Perfect. You also want to observe, like, how does the revenue develop? Do revenue numbers change? Does it go down significantly because I try to push the ROAS more? Or does it stay more or less on the level? Because generally speaking, if you try to get a higher ROAS, a conversion volume will go down, right? You're pushing the limits, you're pushing for more profit. And vice versa also, if you don't have a target ROAS set, or you have a lower target ROAS, that's why we also set the lower target ROAS here, then you give the campaign more freedom and it can scale for higher conversion volume, yes. Yeah, use it wisely, be very strategic about it, set it a bit higher, check how the revenue numbers develop, and then after a while, and give it some time, wait 1-2 weeks, see if you can get there, then you set it higher again a bit. You try, okay, can we get to 200%? Yes? No? How do conversion numbers change? How do they develop? And that's how it works. And yeah, basically once you reached your desired level, whatever it is, you just leave it like that and you just run smoothly, right? And you only adjust it when things change significantly, when you scale up significantly again, or if you see, okay, conversion numbers drop for some reasons, maybe your products are not selling that well anymore, for whatever reason, like it could be many things, then you have to adjust, obviously, right? Because if you cannot get your target ROAS anymore, again, for whatever reason, you have to adjust. And that's why you have to be careful with the target ROAS, because one thing that you want to avoid at all costs, almost or always, you will never want to get in that situation where you actually like throttle the campaigns, because it really is a vicious downward spiral. It hurts performance, it hurts the volume, and then you know what people usually do then, or what happens, you remove the target ROAS completely to give it some freedom again, but then it spends very widely, you need some time to readjust again, and that's also not the deal. Be careful with the target ROAS a little bit. Usually I always set it a bit lower, give it enough freedom, see, okay, get it a bit higher. That's a good sign. It's the sign of a healthy growing account. Then we scale properly, and then I might push it a little bit more, but I don't tweak it to the maximum. It's not needed, you know. Alright, and that's it about target ROAS. You see there's quite some stuff to consider here. A lot of things to consider: conversion volume, learning phase, whatever. But don't overthink it too much. It's just one tool that helps you to achieve your desired outcome, but it's not like a lot of people glorify it too much. You think, oh, target ROAS, I can set it to whatever I want, and then I will get it out of the account, right? No, it doesn't work like that. So it's not a magic tool. You still need to have a great store. You still need to have great products. And only with that and a lot of data, you can actually use target ROAS properly. And that's it. Alright, time for a proper outro, I guess. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.